Chris Spielman, the former Ohio State All-American linebacker and great Detroit Lion. Chris, good to visit with you.
Hi, Dan. How are you, sir?
I'm doing okay. At our morning meeting, we were wondering about what is the atmosphere, that feeling around Ohio State football. Justin Fields putting out this petition. Like the last 2 weeks there, how would you sum up just the feeling you get from your callers to your show or just fans you run into?
Well, I think it's like everywhere around the country. I think one thing about football, it's galvanizing, especially in the state of Ohio. And I think everybody understands the risk of COVID. And I think the big concern is, and what I think Justin wants, and what most of the parents want, is that they want the right to choose at the most, and at the very least, give us a reason or give them a reason why they can't play moving forward. I think that's an obligation of the Big Ten.
But why is it that the ACC, SEC, and Big 12 are playing and the Big 10 is not?
Well, I think there's a diversity of opinion on the medical situation and myocarditis. And, you have a doctor from the University of Michigan come out who's and part of it and said that myocarditis has been around for years. And I'll give you the perfect example of how maybe these kids would be a little bit safer. I'm assuming you talked about Cameron Smith, the linebacker of the Minnesota Vikings, who had COVID. They went and got his heart checked, and they found out that he needed life-saving surgery, quite frankly. And that was all because he got his heart checked, and it had nothing to do with COVID or COVID symptoms. But I think if you go about that protocol, what's going to happen is maybe you'll be able to find some heart issues that some kids may have that otherwise would have went undiagnosed.
What would you ask the commissioner of the Big Ten?
Uh, why? I mean, I have a daughter, Dan, that's a basketball player at BG at Bowling Green. For those of you, not from Ohio that don't know where BG is, and so I understand the players' concerns. So if they would cancel my daughter's season, the one question, okay, give me the reason why, and why did it change over a 5-day period? And we at the very least, need to know why. And then I also think, from my perspective, coming from a parent's point of view, as a player, it's obvious I'd want to play. But coming from a parent, if you're going to make this decision, then tell me why. Because all of a sudden, it's going to affect a lot of kids' futures. Because you think about it, players that go into this, that have dreams, and everybody that goes to Ohio State thinks they're an NFL player. I think you'd agree with that.
Yeah.
So you're eliminating the undraftable kid to becoming draftable. You're eliminating the 7th-round kid to become a 3rd-round kid, or in Joe Burrow's case, the 5th-round kid become a 1st-round kid. That's just a small part of it, but that's a part of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out, and that's why we're going to have the NCAA's chief medical officer on, because I don't think he has any jurisdiction over the SEC, ACC, and the Big 12 to play football. And I have said this to a couple of coaches we've had on. Why can't I get the medical people with the SEC, ACC, and Big 12 on with the medical people of the Big 10 and Pac-12? And let's just talk. Do it a Zoom call. Let us, listen in and understand the transparency, if there is transparency with this, so we understand what one conference is doing and what another conference is not doing.
So that would require strong leadership, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No, I'm not trying to be a smart aleck here. I'm just saying somebody has to stand up and take the lead. Can the kids get COVID playing football? Absolutely, 100% yes. Can the kids get COVID not playing football? Absolutely, 100% yes. And so the question I would ask if I were a parent, or again, if I were leading, I would say, we are opening up the schools. Ohio State's going to have 40,000 students check in. Do they have to sign a waiver? I mean, what are we doing here? Somebody's got to get together. They have to assume control and come to a consensus. And until you do that, you're going to have everybody playing by their own separate rules.
He's Chris Spielman, the NFL analyst with Fox Sports, former NFL great, and certainly played at Ohio State. What's your favorite NFL memory that you'll tell your grandkids?
Well, probably it kind of goes together. The first preseason game I played was in Cleveland, and Darryl Rogers, long forgotten name, but a very good man, was the head coach of the Lions who drafted me, came into the team meeting afterward, and he said to me, "Where's Spielman?" This is how we started the meeting. That was the absolute worst performance I've ever seen out of a linebacker. I can't believe we drafted you in the 2nd round. You look like a blind dog in a butcher shop. You had no idea what you're doing. You're running around crazy. So that whole week, my coach came up to me and said, we're starting you in the second preseason game. In the second preseason game, before the game, I remember saying to myself, this is your destiny. It's now or never. Either you're going to be a player or you're not. I went out and played well, and it kind of the rest is history. So I know that's not a very exciting moment, but for me, it was life-changing, and it set my destiny and my future from then on, moving forward.
And you also got to play with Barry Sanders.
Right.
Yeah, that I'm sure was.
You want a story? Can I give you a quick story about Barry?
Absolutely.
First third day in that Barry reported to camp, he was late. He ran the ball. We had a full pads practice. I went up and hit Barry Sanders. And you remember Wayne, Dan, used to drive around in that golf cart and smoke a cigar. Well, you know, Wayne's from Canton. I don't know if you knew that or not, but I'm from Canton, Massillon area. And Wayne comes up with a cigar in his golf cart. And he comes up and says, Chris, I played against your dad. I've known your dad for 30 years. I love you. I love you like a son. But I got to tell you, if you hit Barry again, I'm going to put your ass on the bus back to Canton in no time. Message received, coach. Hands off Barry. I got it.
Yeah, normally it's hands off the quarterback. But this was not that you could really put your hands on Barry. Like, I've never seen somebody make so many people miss of all the running back. Maybe you played against somebody who...
I did play against him in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And the only reason I got a good shot on him, but the only reason why was that he never saw me. Now, if he saw you, he had no shot. He had no chance. I'm serious. So it's just amazing what he was able to do. In my mind, of course, I'm biased, but I think in a lot of people's mind, the best ever.
I saw, did you put up your Big Ten championship ring for auction?
I put 2 of them up for auction for COVID relief. So Bruce Hooley and I do a podcast together. And I thought, you know, God has given me a position to do something. And so my goal was the number 40 is biblical in a way. And so I raised $40,000 to give away $1,000 for 40 weeks. And that will end in January. So we draw 4 names out of a hat every week. We give $250 away to 4 different people who are nominated. And so it's just my way of doing something. I've been given a platform, and whether it's for breast cancer research in honor of my late wife, or COVID relief, or we just had a big fundraiser for ALS where we raised $50,000 for my teammate, William White at Ohio State in Detroit. I have an obligation to give back. And it's something that I take seriously. And, you know, it's a lesson that I try to teach my family is what you give will grow and what you keep, you lose. So I try to give it away as much as I can.
And I know you miss Stephanie, but, you know, she was such a strong woman. Yeah.
I got remarried to a Youngstown girl, and it's interesting. I mean, if I can say this or not, but you know, it's interesting that I thought I would never get remarried. And it's interesting about the concept of grace that the only way I could love another woman if it would be that it was totally different. So I married a Youngstown girl. I can't get off the Northeast Ohio chicks. There's something about them to me. But they're just tough as hell, man. I mean, but I was able to love again, but it's totally different. I don't know if that makes sense, but widowers in my position who've remarried understand exactly what I'm talking about.
It's great to talk to you. How are the buys and tries there?
I'm in the weight room now, man. You remember I got my jersey of Eric Andelsack. Remember him? He's my teammate that was killed tragically by a drunk driver. So that's about one of the 2 jerseys I have hanging up in this weight room, and it's just to honor him. So it's going great, man. I can't complain. I try to work out and exercise and eat healthy and control as much of my destiny as I can.
Tell Bruce we said hello. Great to talk to you again, Chris. Thank you.
Brother.
All right.
God bless you. Thank you.
That's Chris Spielman.